Okay, hello. Welcome back to another game of chess. Today we're going to play the Englund Gambit again against White's d4, and hesitating over accepting it is not normally something I see, especially at this elo. Normally people just take it straight away and think that it's a free win. Little do they know that my Englund Gambit preparation goes further than they could ever imagine. So Queen e7 here, Queen b4, attack the bishop, attack the king, attack b2. Bishop goes back, take b2. Oh, we're going to get the same line, aren't we? This is going to be amazing. This is going to be frankly super. Okay, so 2055, and they're playing bishop c3. This should hopefully show some of you watching that there is hope left in this world for your elo. This is a complete blunder. This is actually a trap. Bishop c3 looks quite strong. I'm not quite sure how a d4 player of this caliber has not seen this trap before, but yeah, I was planning to sack my queen after knight c3, but we see bishop c3 here, and the point is the queen can't be taken because we've pinned the bishop to the king. Now if bishop takes here, we just play knight takes, and the rook hangs, and so does a threat of c2, which forks here. So yeah, I'm going to take a little sip of Lucozade and relish in my completely winning position after 6 moves. There we go. Okay, knight takes now on b4, and the point is this rook is hanging, as I said, and also there's a very, very meaningful threat of knight takes c2. The move knight a3 seems to prevent the rook hanging and also this threat of knight takes c2. However, knight a3 does just hang a knight. It is important to remember. And we see the knight come to d4. Very interesting. Okay, this is where I almost certainly take a rook. So I'm going to do that. Pick up the 5 points of material that I've well earned. Although c5 would have been interesting there, actually. It might still be interesting. How about we go... Okay, we can take this pawn, which also re-threatens this idea on c2, and there's then a threat of c5, removing the defender of this c2 idea to then play knight takes on c2. So I think I'm going to go for that. Queen takes on a2. Also giving my queen far more options as to where to retreat along all these squares here. Picking up a pawn in the process and attacking a potential fork idea. So my knight is kicked, which kind of kills the idea of playing c5, I'll be honest. But, I mean, we're so heavily up in material, I see no problem with just playing knight c6. Even if they leave this here, taking normally... Yeah, okay, so in this position, taking normally would not be advised, as after d takes, you completely resolve the problems with the pawn structure. Right now, the pawn's very disparate, not holding each other. Like, what is this pawn doing? It's on its own. What is this pawn doing? It's on its own. Actually, what is this pawn doing? Can I just take this pawn? With tempo on a bishop. The only thing is with these kind of lines is you want to not get your queen trapped. So I take this pawn. Yeah, there's just nothing. There's just absolutely nothing. I'm just going to take it. With a tempo on this bishop, the bishop steps back. Okay, how to continue? c5 maybe, but I don't know, it seems a little rash. It doesn't really do anything to develop this bishop, or get me close to castling, or develop this knight. Seems like a bit of a novice move, I'll be honest. Bit of a one-move attack. What I want to probably play is something like b6 or knight f6, maybe b6, going towards developing one of my 2 pieces that needs developing. But I think knight f6 is a slightly stronger case because I can then castle kingside. If knight f6 and then bishop b3, there's no real threat. I can always run across here, and then I've just got all the way along here to save my queen. So we're going to play knight f6, get me close to castling, be completely safe, and Yeah, revel in the 7 points of material that we have. So my opponent castles as well. I mean, I'm just going to castle now. Completely safe. Get my king safe. And now it's just a matter of trading stuff and getting to a completely winning endgame. Okay, f4 is kind of interesting because knight c4 looks really good. Okay, knight c4 looks good because I'm going for this square. I do have to be careful about bishop b3, but I've got queen a6. So I am going to play knight c4. Bishop b3. Interestingly, I could probably take here. And if you take, I take. But then you take, and I've given back a piece, although it is far more simple. So, I don't know, potentially that works. The queen jumps into here. Okay. Now I think I can sort of outpost this while developing a piece. And I know there's a sort of potential, let's use a nice red color here, potential mate threat on here, but there's no way to remove my knight yet. So I'm going to play d5, secure this knight in place. Very soft square here, the rook can come to e8 maybe, put pressure on that, forking this, as well as potential ideas of checkmate across here, very long range ideas. But we should be fine. I mean, there's no way to really kick this knight, which is doing a great job here. Potentially g4, g5 is coming. That'll be quite interesting. I can always play g6 and just use some other colours. Bishop f5. Although it could get taken by this, probably not ideal. I could put this knight here and have some double outposted knights, which would be quite cool. I could also play c5 at some point now. If knight here, a6. Well, you know what? I'm a fan of this. Let's play c5. Because the knight has very minimal squares that sort of come closer to my king or towards the position. So if it steps back, we've just claimed some more central space. The knight comes into here, really. Maybe going for this check. I mean, I can always take it, which I feel like I might do just because of the fact that, I don't know. Oh, actually, then g6, hanging a knight, but then this works. Okay, I like this. We're going to take this, largely because we're just up material. There's also this, which I've just seen, which looks ridiculously good. This outposted knight coming back for more. This is still held. Yeah, there's no checks. This has to be winning. Take here, hit the rook, hit the queen, hit the bishop twice. I mean, you know what? Let's illustrate that in red. Mainly because I've just found out about the new colours that I can use. And I'm very excited. There's also some long-range threat of mate still. This is arguably the greatest knight I've ever seen. And yeah, up 8 points of material, there's nothing to be done here. King is completely safe. And life is good. Take yet another sip from the Lucozade bottle. Relishing the victory. And there yeah, resignation after that knight fork. Okay, here we are in the analysis. Let's go through the game. So we saw d4 from white. And in responding to d4, if you're the kind of person that thinks, oh yeah, let me play d5. Let me go into an exciting and zesty Queen's Gambit declined, you know, knight c3, knight f6, ooh, takes, an exchange variation, bishop g5, bishop e7 perhaps, a bit of positional play. I have far less respect for you on a human level than if you're the kind of person that sees d4 and thinks, I could play a good move, but no, I'm going to play the Englund Gambit, conceding an advantage immediately of 1.7 to white after takes, and you're just a pawn down with actually quite a strong pawn here on e5. The reason, however, that I like playing this is because every single move that black now plays comes with an attack. So let's have a look at that. Knight to c6. Knight c6 attacks this pawn. Sorry about that. Knight c6 attacks this pawn. The pawn is hanging. So what does white play? Knight f3. Makes sense. Defends the pawn. Now black plays queen e7. Again, coming with an attack on the pawn. it's only defended once. So what does white play? Bishop f4, defending the pawn. Now, there are ways to play against the Englund Gambit, like I believe e4, where you just give back this pawn, and then probably play f4 to kick the knight and, you know, probably maintain some kind of advantage. But this is the best way to play against it, allowing black to keep making attacks. So then, the most attacking move of all, queen b4 check. This move puts the king in check, attacks this bishop here, which is hanging, and also attacks b2. To a lower rated player, this may seem like a complete win. However, this can be defended, well, at least two of these threats here can be defended by blocking with the bishop, which my opponent of course does. Now, if you're Stockfish, you play queen c5 here and try and grapple with the fact that you've given white an advantage with no real counterplay. However, taking on b2, an inaccuracy, allows for some very, very interesting ideas. The best move being knight c3, the only real move being knight c3, otherwise you're going to lose your rook, and if knight a3, you're going to lose your knight. But my opponent, which is slightly odd at this elo, but you know, for any of you watching that are a bit lower rated, that are trying to get some quick and easy wins, bang, bishop c3, minus 8.4 on the eval bar. Why? Because bishop b4. And what can white do here? I mean, the bishop is pinned to the king, it's attacked twice, this rook is attacked, and the bishop no longer defends the rook because it is pinned to the king, as I said. This knight also can't come to c3, which is a crucial idea sometimes in defending this, because you need your queen to be able to protect the rook. But if the knight goes to a3, it's going to hang, and if the knight goes to here, the bishop's going to hang. Say we see knight d2 here, we can take the bishop, attacking this rook twice, the knight's pinned, you know, nothing to be done here. So, after they take, which is I believe the best move, we play knight takes, and it looks like things are a little better for white, because, oh, maybe you can play knight d2, and look, the queen protects the rook. But no, knight c2 check, the king has no moves, and you have to play queen takes knight here, which allows you a free rook, or, if you want, a free queen, which is often better than a free rook. That's why you're watching this video, for that kind of wisdom. So, here, it's actually extremely hard for white to play any kind of useful move. Lifting the queen, I think, is sometimes advised. What would the engine suggest here? Knight a3. Okay, yeah, that's what I was saying in the video. Sorry about that. The engine suggests knight a3 here, giving up the knight completely for free in order to not lose the rook. But then, you know, you're just up a knight, and I mean, the game's pretty much lost from there. You're up a knight, and also white doesn't really get any developing counterplay because this bishop's still inactive, so is this rook. The knight's not doing anything in particular, this pawn's quite weak, the structure here is rubbish. Black's just going to develop castle, maybe even fianchetto this bishop, and be up a full minor piece. However, we don't see knight a3, instead we see knight d4 from my opponent, to which I could have taken the knight, because if queen takes there, then I play knight c2, and after king here, I can take the queen, which is very interesting. However, if I'd taken this and c3 got played, then I'd take the queen, and after king takes, just move my knight back, apparently to a6. What is Stockfish doing? Okay, c6, there we go. I kind of, yeah, I mean, in the future, I guess I'll play that, but taking here, I'm also a big fan of. You're up a rook. The point is, though, that white's going to be able to get a lot more counterplay, but if you're sensible about it, it's not going to be easy for them to do anything whatsoever. So taking the rook, they move this pawn. Taking a2 is the best move here, you know, bringing back to life the threat on c2 here. Once c5 is played to kick this knight, obviously you want to remove the defender there first, but white simply pushes this pawn. I could have played c5 still, but okay, yeah, after a bit of calculation, you know, Stockfish needs a minute to catch up with me. Knight c6, oh, it's gone back to c5. Okay, maybe Stockfish doesn't need a minute to catch up with me, but knight c6 here, perfectly fine, looking to exchange the knights. They could have gone for some kind of idea here, but I could have just played king d8. I could have also played queen a5, just defended this. Would have been very easy. However, they played bishop here, so I simply take the pawn, threatening the bishop, and after the bishop goes back, develop the other knight. I'm quite glad this was the best move. generally because of the reasoning I went through in the video. You know, you want to develop your minor pieces, you want a castle. It's going to take 1, 2, 3 moves to castle this way, and it's also far less safe with all these open files. So knight f6 developing a knight. General principle as well, knights before bishops. You know, for any of you new players watching, in general, you want to develop all your minor pieces, but knights generally before bishops. So after knight f6, we then see castles by my opponent, to which I just castle myself. I mean, my king's now completely safe. There's no real threat going on here. This pawn is pushed, and I go into c4 with the knight. Best move there. Threatening this very, very soft square on e3, to which there is, let's just do some colourful illustrations. If we go on here, there is not 1, not 2, but 3 things threatened here. Okay, wait, wrong colour. Give me a moment. There we go. Wow, look how beautiful that is. So yeah, hopping into here to threaten a very soft square there on e3. And after the queen jumps in here, don't get scared of mating ideas. I mean, well, be cautious, but not scared, because this isn't really going to come to anything. I can just play d5 to secure my knight. My opponent played like h3, which I don't really understand, but then I'm going to kick this knight, claiming more central space. The knight jumps in here, and I notice that if I take, that diverts the queen from e3, and I can simply take here. This knight defending the threat of checkmate, and this knight, you know, just what a performance from the knights. This knight just hitting everything important in White's position in conjunction with the queen. And at this point, White resigned because the eval is minus 14.3, and just practically there's no real counterplay here. Best move is to go here, to which I could take this bishop for free. Also, if I take this rook, it's probably fine as well after king takes, but yeah, probably taking the bishop spare just for free, and also removing any threat of checkmate if somehow g4, g5 happens without me noticing. Even then I'd have knight e4, but yeah, no chances for counterplay, and we just win the game off a very spicy looking Englund Gambit trap. Completely winning move in 6 moves. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate all of your support. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new, leave a comment as well. I really appreciate it. I reply to all the comments. So yeah, if you want interaction with an internet celebrity like myself, leave a comment. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.